Well, perfect. Hey, welcome to another episode of Legacy and Leaders Media Podcast. I'm Augusta Foster, better known as Gusto. Tonight, I'm here with West Coast legend, i.e., representative, like we were just saying, from the Inland Empire to Strong Island. It's going to be interesting to hear about this, man. My man, Jaiden Roe. Jaiden, greatly appreciate your time, brother.
Appreciate you for having me, man.
Yeah, man. Awesome, awesome, man. So from as you could, like I said, I'll turn around because I'll always rep. I'll always rep the brand. For those of you who don't know, I forget the young lady's name, but who I met from PR. If you happen to watch this, like you watched the last one, I need some more merch. I appreciated the free beers and the
Fact, we got to get
language.
you right.
Man, listen, I'll be back up in there, man, with my dad for another game. Merch me. But yeah,
Got
man,
you.
safety, man, for the Fisher Freight man out there just outside of Indianapolis or Carmel, Indiana. Jay, man, tell me first and foremost, man, when I say ask you about yourself, i.e. to Long Island. Break this down for me.
Okay, so I've always been kind of a small kid, right? Like California, as a lot of people know, the talent pool is very saturated. You know what I mean when it comes to sports. So like for me, I went to private school in high school. I didn't play safety. I didn't play DB till my senior year. So I was a little bit behind the
Mm,
eight ball as far as like recruiting goes. So I knew I wanted to go to junior college, kind of play that out. I knew I wanted to go Division One. I felt like I had the talent to, and I know I had the work ethic too. So did my 1 year in junior college at San Marino Valley. Ended up getting 6 picks as a freshman at 17 years old. Kind of crazy. So and I was like, you know what, I want to get out. I was a qualifier, so I ended up transferring to Long Island, all the way
to
in New
Long
York.
Island.
Yes, sir. They said it was free, and I come from where I come from. That's huge. So that education was the main thing for me, and I was like, if I could get a free bachelor's out of it, why not? Let's go. Let's go check it out.
Man, awesome. So you're SoCal kid. I myself, every time somebody listens, they hear me say specific words. No matter what I say, they'll hear me say core, and they go, "Oh, okay." So you
Thanks.
from? I go, "Yeah, yeah, man. I'm from LA." So yeah, man. When you being an IE guy, and even how you said the saturation of football, I think because there's specifically over the past 4 to 5 years, there's such a heavy lean into Georgia ball, Florida ball. Texas has
Hmm.
always been prominent. But I think for some odd reason, people have been under the perception like California football fell off because, we're not the 7-7 state, even though
Hmm.
we're still very much a good football state. So, I mean, man, from the standpoint of the saturation and the class you came out of, despite the size, what were you? Because the fact that you even said taking the approach of, I knew I wanted to go to JUCO, meaning you wanted to progress.
Hmm.
Did you think what were like the offers? What were the opportunities that you had presented to you initially coming out of high school? And specifically for people who don't know, coming out of a private school out of California
Hmm.
is very different because it's not like you going to a Crenshaw, a Dorsey, San Pedro, or a Bishop Baum. Like once you get into your J Sarah's and your Bishop Baumats and your other private schools, it's a little tricky. That Trinity League get difficult.
100%. 100%. I think just for coming out, I probably had like I wasn't a camp guy, wasn't big on that. Like you just don't know what you don't know, and that's not to knock D2 schools, right, or D3 schools, because we're all young. I think you could probably speak for it as well. Like as a young kid, you're like, I want to go D1, I want to go
Yep.
D1, I want to go D1. But like, there's a lot of value in going to D2, D3. If you're a baller, they'll come find you. And at the time, I didn't know that. You know what I mean? So it was no question for me. Like I'm going JUCO. Like I had a couple D3 offers, had a couple D2 offers, but I was stuck on that mindset of like Division One, Division One, Division One.
Hmm.
And luckily, my high school coach ended up going to the junior college I was going to, so it kind of
Oh,
worked itself out, and I kind of got to wiggle in, get it done, get business taken care of, and get up out of there. So
awesome. Which the JUCO man, and I always respect the JUCO grind, and I understand your perspective of D1 aspirations. The long short, I tell people I went to a number of high schools, but my last year's of high school playing ball, I played against Terrence Halston, Deshaun Jackson, Luther Smith, dudes who were like Division 1 prospects, and you're thinking you're D1, and in all reality, I was like, I'm a 6 foot tall 280-pound guard or this, and I'm like, I really should have been looking at these NAIAs. Like, I really should have strolled down to a Stillman or maybe Kaiser. But you
Mm-hmm.
don't. Hindsight is 2020. So I'm glad
Mm-hmm.
that you had the approach of understanding. Look, I need a little bit of work. You go to JUCO, knock out the grades, become a qualifier. Back in the day, it was the clearinghouse. They've changed the
Mm-hmm.
game now, but I know the process. Get to the
Facts.
clearinghouse. So now, was Long Island the first school that came calling, or were they the first ones where they were like, we want to make sure we get you here and we're throwing the whole scholarship?
So that was kind of an interesting story too, because my junior college year, that spring is when COVID hit. And so it was kind of iffy. I didn't want to get stuck either, you know what I mean, in junior college because I didn't really know and I wanted to leave, you know what? And they called me. They're like, look, we want you out for a visit. So I took the visit. Rest in peace to Coach Collins. Great guy. My
Mm.
first head coach at Long Island. Wonderful man, outgoing man. And he was just like, look, he saw the way I carried myself on the visit. And he was like, you know what? Like, we really like you. You fit our scheme. Like, I want to give you a full ride on the spot. But
Uh,
he was smart though. This is what a lot of kids don't understand coming out of high school. He was smart.
he's about to give y'all some game.
He was like, "You have a full ride until signing day." I was there that Sunday. Signing day was the next
Mm,
Wednesday. So he was like, "We're gonna give you this full ride that's on the table
but we need it.
until Wednesday. If you don't sign with us, like we're liable to pull it and give it to somebody else." So it's like, I mean, I had nothing to lose. Free school paid for in New York. I loved it in New York. I was like,
Right.
let's do it. Like, let's do it. Why not? Go cash in on this Division 1 thing that I was
Exact,
chasing, and it was free.
and the emphasis on the free 99, because to
Mm-hmm.
not take the opportunity. Now, I mean, of course, coach, like you said, salute the coach for being
Mm-hmm.
like, I know this is a kid who I want. I see what somebody else doesn't see. Hey, man, putting that pressure on you to, I need your name on this line.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
or we might go to the next one. Awesome, man. So now you soak out of Long Island, and like you said, the initial coach, God rest his soul. He's there. They bring you into the program, and I've watched LIU from a standpoint of football and basketball, and it. Not to get too heavily into the transfer portal, but specifically seeing that it's a program that does a lot of work and effort to not just recruit locally, because I know there's
Mm-hmm.
New Jersey kids and New York kids and a couple of kids from surrounding areas, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts. But I saw a sprinkle of Florida, one or two guys from Texas, and you weren't the only Cali guy. When I overlooked the roster, and even now, I'm like, so they're doing their due diligence recruiting, man. So now
Mm-hmm.
you get there, and it's a competitive program. What was
Mm-hmm.
the change or the shift from going from California Junior College to Division 1 ball?
Okay, so that's a tough one. That's a tough one because to be honest with you, California JUCO was so tough. Like we played dudes every week. Like we played cover zero, so like we played man the whole game. I had a dude in that slot every single week. You know what I mean? And so like the transition wasn't as difficult. You know what I'm saying? Like the NEC is a small FCS conference, and it's very competitive. There's guys that get out for sure, right, to the NFL.
Oh yeah.
But the transition, the hardest part for me was getting on the field at LIU, seeing where I could fit in position wise, because they didn't know if they wanted to put me at nickel, they didn't know if they wanted to put me at safety, corner. And at the time, I was kind of, you think as a young kid, I got to put on all this weight. I got to put on all this weight. I got to get bigger. Division 1, Division
Right.
1. Really, that was the perfect size that I needed to be when I left for school. You know what I mean? And then when I got there, I was much heavier, so they didn't really know where to put me. So I think that was probably the hardest part was finding where I fit at LIU, scheme wise for sure. But as far as like the speed of the game, there's not much higher than Cali Tuco. Like,
Are y'all listening to this? There's not my. I know there partners who you from Hines, and dudes who I know who've coached in Mississippi and Texas. We don't care about Tyler. We don't care about Hines. We don't care about Kahoma.
no,
That
not
LA,
at all.
that California JUCO ball, all the Simons and all the Ooses. Yeah, man. Listen,
Uh
he's telling you. He's telling you. It's real.
Facts, facts.
Man, so now the speed. So, like you said, you didn't necessarily need the size of the speed. It was just you needed to be afforded the opportunity to get on the field to show, hey, I can actually do this. So now
Hmm.
you get onto the field. Y'all are competitive. You ball out. You do what you need to do season by season. And of course, everybody will always look back and say, I wish I would have done this differently. If we, if we would have won this game or that close. So there's always regrets. But from a
Hmm.
standpoint of like the successes, what were some of the highlights that you had where you felt like I would, even with those regrets and those bad moments, I wouldn't exchange it because of these wins or these victories, personal or team wise, that you had at Long Island?
I think just so for me, it was an unorthodox route there. You know what I mean? Like, so not only did I struggle to kind of fit their scheme right, but my coach that recruited me, the recruiting coordinator initially, he ended up leaving to another school. And nowadays, what does that mean? Like, oh, you can hop in the portal, right? The
Yep.
first thing is the grass is greener. Like, leave, go somewhere else. And initially, that was my thought, but then that's just not me. You know what I'm saying? That's not how I was raised. That's not the cloth that I'm cut from. So I didn't leave. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna grind it out. And just I think proving to myself my senior year, like I had the number one coverage grade in the country in PFF, like could play corner, could play safety, lockdown against Baylor, like tropical bowl participant, you know what I mean, which is a FBS bowl game, like just proving myself right that I could do it. I think that was the biggest victory for me, not just physically but mentally too, you know what I mean, as a player because I knew I had that the whole time. It was just putting in that work, controlling what you can control, and letting your work show. You know what I mean? So I think that was the biggest dub for me was proving myself right my senior year. Talking
Who
to the
would?
NFL teams, you know what I mean? Like that was huge.
All right. So now we're at LIU. We're getting victories. Off topic, food, because I like wondering. No, you're in Long Island, which people will say this is. You have some people say it ain't New York, it ain't. That doesn't really count. How was Long Island and how did Long Island treat you? Because I hear so much about specifically dudes who leave California and go other places and they go, man, I really needed that. It was great for me foundation wise to help me grow as a man and as a person.
Mhm.
What did that time in Long Island do for you just as a human being?
Okay, so for sure that's a big one. That's a great question. So to live in New York, like you gotta have some thick skin. Like you gotta have some thick skin, and it took me like almost getting down, like boxing a couple folks to like realize like, oh, this is just they're super fast paced. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
similar to
they
LA, but we're a little bit more laid back. To where
yeah,
in New
we're
York, it's crabs in a bucket. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
they
so you gotta
I'm
adjust.
walking here. Yeah, they on that I'm walking here.
Yes,
Yes.
and they don't care where you're walking. Like, get out my way. Like, I'm getting to where I'm going. Nothing, not the world is not gonna stop for you. And you learn that real quick being in New York. You know what I mean? So you got to build that thick skin. I definitely gained that there. And then you mentioned food, man. Like I miss it for sure. Like Italian food, the best. There's no other Italian food that's better than New York. There's no
Here,
pizza that's better than New York. Like
here we go.
Jamaican
the the
food, Rasta pasta.
the New
Like
Yorkers, any New Yorker, when I clip these clips, I'm gonna clip this, and I'm gonna have a number of New Yorkers who I know who go, hey, I told you we got the best buy. I'm like, oh, here we go.
facts, facts. But even like just people sleep on like the Caribbean food,
Oh yeah,
Dominican food, Puerto Rican food, like it's fire. It's a melting pot, and it's crazy. Like Rasta pasta to this day. If I could get me some
Rasta.
hands on some Rasta pasta, oh my goodness, like
I mean,
man,
it's the perfect spot, man. Because you, like I said, and plus you got teammates who, hey man, look, it's this. All you need is one. All you need is like a random, hey man, we got a Haitian teammate, he from Delaware. We got a Jamaican teammate, he from Philly, and it's like we
facts,
just take a quick train, and you can eat
facts.
whatever you want, and we can be back for the game day. You'll be a couple pounds heavier, but I'm sure you was also way happier.
Oh yeah, for sure. Food makes everybody happier, right? Like you know what the thing too with Long Island it was like the access and being able to
Mm,
just get to the New York City so quick. Like it's a 40-minute train ride. So like summers in New York are nothing like there's nothing like them. Like there's something to do every day, something to go see, some parade to go to.
that's
Like
all.
like it's crazy. New York,
They
I
they
definitely miss it for sure.
They ensure every the times that I've been when it's not work related and it's kind of just the freedom. I'm like, I understand. Like, I even though being from the West Coast, I throw my bias to the side and go, okay, summer times, yeah, I like, I can hit LA, I could hit the beach, but it's like y'all are street parties, music festivals. Like, there's
Hmm.
care put into the parks. It's a free. I'm like, it's a free concert. I'm like, this is something where I'm like, okay, I can see why people go, I'll spend that amount of money, this insane bag to raise my kids here. Because I'm like, this is real cool, like one of a kind environment. Like I get it. I
Facts.
get it. Awesome, man. So now you go and of course you grad now if I'm right, was it business management or finance? Because I remember like you were like, I want a degree that's a real degree in numbers. You was like, I
Yeah.
want like I don't like I don't
Yeah.
knock any of my partners who went and was like, hey, communications, kinesiology, because I know a lot of dudes who was like, but I know that's also part of the coaches like you need to make practice. I need you to take this degree
Uh-huh.
versus where you at some schools where they like, look, man, make sure you actually learn. Make sure you're getting a quality education. We didn't just bring you here to play, but getting the education on the way out. What was
Mm-hmm.
your degree in?
So it was finance. I ended up getting my master's in finance.
Oh, you
Yes,
you
sir.
listen, you ran that man. Listen, man. Shake your hand, brother. That man said, like, I got 3 years, 3 to 4 years. Let me double up.
Yes, sir.
That's
Yes, sir.
awesome,
Had
bro.
to.
Man, that was smart, man. So now you have the degrees, you graduated. I know also when in that period we didn't have the Diego Pavia decision, but there was still also post COVID year. They were granting extra years. Did you utilize that year? Or did you say, I think for me is run its course?
So to be honest with you, I didn't know. Like I honestly, I think I
Mm.
came out a year too early, but I didn't know. For one, my last year there in 2023, I was finishing my master's in a year. So I was like, I mean, I didn't have no school left to do. So I just thought like, all right,
You want to
I
push for that doctor?
assumed
You want to be Dr. Rowe? You
the doctor, right? I did, but I had no clue. Like I didn't know if they had a doctorate program or anything like that. And coach didn't really mention like, hey, you got another year left. So in my mind,
Mm,
I'm like, okay, my eligibility's out. But some
right,
of those guys, if I would have known to fight for another one, I probably would have. But you only know what you know. I mean, I was
right.
22. I had a master's degree. Like at that point, I'm thinking I'm winning. I had talked to a couple NFL teams at the time, so I'm like, I'm thinking I'm out of there anyway. So I think I might have came out early, but it worked itself out for sure.
Awesome, no man. It was right. It was right on time, man. Right on time. And the fact that you got ran out of there with 2 degrees for the free. I listen. That's a you're up. You are up, my brother. So
Facts.
now, like you said, it's you're 22. You don't necessarily know about the extra eligibility, but at this point in life, you're like 22 years old. I've achieved, at least from my knowledge, what I can education wise here. I've talked to a couple of scouts. I've got feelers out. I'm getting good feedback from agent and management. Let me go ahead and declare.
Hmm.
So you declare, and I know for a lot of people that's a huge step because it's the culmination of the dream, even to declare. Because most people
Hmm.
will, I try to explain to when I talk to high school guys, like you're the best dude on this team has like
Hmm.
less than like a million chance to get
Hmm.
a mini camp invite. Like there is, it's work. Don't overlook the D2 or the NAIA or NCCAA offers. Like because
Hmm.
it's the rare 1% of 1% who go on to play pro ball at any level. So
Hmm.
for you to have been like, all right, I'm declaring for the draft mentally, where like how was there like somewhat of a feeling of like a release to where it was like, okay, I finally made it to where I'm at the door, or what was that feeling?
I knew it was gonna be a fight, to be honest, and I knew the cards were kind of stacked against me. Like that breath of fresh air that you're kind of talking about, that's what I got when my senior year was over. And it was like
Mm,
I checked PFF, right? And I'm like, number one coverage grade in the country, 10th in the country overall grade. That was my little like breath of fresh air moment. And then I was like, all right, it's gonna be a long shot. Like I'm gonna have to
mm,
work from here on out. Gonna have to work to get in the door because I'm a small kid, small school kid, not jump off the paper athletic. So I knew like, all right, I gotta grind some more. Let's get back to it, you know. But the arrive moment was definitely nice though. Going to the Tropical Bowl, like I said, the PFF grade, that was my little like, okay. Okay, we might got something. Okay, I like this.
Nice, nice. So now you go trot ball. That wasn't Orlando. Was that Orlando or St. Pete?
It was Orlando that year.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think. I was like, I can't remember. I didn't. No, I didn't know. I went to the Shrine. I was trying to think which one did I go to. I was trying to go to the Hula Bowl. Couldn't get that credential. They wasn't making that happen.
The Shrine
Um,
is nice too, though. You
hey, it
baller.
wasn't bad. Wasn't bad. So now, man, so you go, of course, the draft comes. What were your realistic expectations? As you said, you knew there was a fight. Did you know, okay, I'm going in here as like priority free agent, undrafted?
Mhm.
What was your mindset? And like, did you keep options open? Because like I said, I think a lot of times, even as you stated out of high school, it's got to be D1. Like so many guys are tunnel vision, it's got to be the league. And clearly,
Mhm.
we've seen there's opportunities that have been presented when you go, I'm really going to ball out in the indoor. I'm really going to ball out in Europe, UFL, Canada. Like, did you keep options open? And like, what were your realistic expectations approaching the draft?
So at the time, I had an NFL certified agent, and he kind of had an in with a scout with Tennessee. So he sent my film over to the scout from Tennessee, and the scout from Tennessee was like, "Look, he's a high IQ guy, like baller, plays across the secondary. Like, I think if he has a good pro day, like he'll be at least a priority free agent." And so I'm thinking like, okay, I'm at least gonna get a mini camp invite or maybe a camp invite, like something. I'm gonna at least get in the door. That was
That
my thought process.
that's the minimum
Hmm.
specifically for. And I'll ask this question on the offhand. Can you kind of explain? Because even as you stated, having an NFL certified agent who knew a guy. Can
Hmm.
you kind of for a second talk about the importance of not necessarily having an agent, but
Hmm.
having at least like that relationship for somebody to be able to hand tape over to be like,
Hmm.
yo, I know a dude. Hey, here's my direct contact.
Hmm. That's a huge part of the puzzle. I think that's a seriously overlooked part of the puzzle. And for these kids that are coming out, whether it be a high school kid or a kid coming out of college, networking and talking to people and building relationships is one of the biggest pieces of the puzzle. Yeah, if you're good enough, sure, they'll find you. You might have eyes, but building that relationship, speaking, putting yourself out there, that's the most important thing for me that I missed the mark on. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
at that tropical ball, I wish I would have just walked up on a scout. Hey, how you doing? What's your name? I'm Jaiden Roe. Like that goes such a long way, and it's a confidence that you got to have in yourself that I had to learn. You had to learn that lesson the hard way as a young kid, right?
right.
But even I would tell my high school self, go talk to scouts. Go try and find somebody that's in the door already that can pull a string for you. That's how my pro day went. I had to reach out to a former coach from LIU to get me into the Syracuse pro day. I almost didn't have a pro day. So like
Wow.
a big piece of the game is getting to know people and having somebody in the door.
Mm,
I can't stress that enough to young kids.
man. So now that NFL certified agent, AF gets you over to the AFC South to Tennessee Titans. Draft comes, pro day. How did pro day go?
So
Because I hate
another
and not to interrupt, but
uh
I'm somebody who as somebody who only play offensive and defensive line.
uh
I tell skill dudes I don't I'm not a 40 person. I've
uh
never cared about the 40. Like I tell people I'm like I've met scouts. I've been in the I'm like they like that shuttle. They're like give me the cone drill. Give me the
uh
cone. They're like what does he do? Because I want to know how you move in
uh
space. I'm like, I don't
mhm,
care how you run in a straight line. Like nobody what oh he
uh
ran 40 yards. I don't care. How do you move in space? So yeah,
mhm.
go back to what you were saying. I just
So
because
for
I
the
was like,
pro
if you were
day,
gonna say 40, I was gonna say I hate the 40. You'll be like, it's an overrated number. I don't care how fast you run in a straight line. How do you
yeah.
change? How do you change? How do you shift positions? How do you pivot against defense? I don't care how you run in a straight line.
Mhm. So
Everybody ain't
for
running go routes.
yeah, facts. They can't run a fade every play, right?
That's it.
But that was so another young kid, 22-year-old kid, young kid decision. I decided I had a training facility hit me up to go and train specifically for the pro day.
Mm,
Hindsight's 2020, right? Like we discussed, I should have went. I didn't go. I trained at my school. A lot
mm,
of my stuff I did on my own for my pro day. That was me being prideful and just trusting my work, trusting myself, because I also didn't want to miss school that spring semester. Because if I missed school that spring semester, I wasn't going to get that master's. So,
Right.
like, I had to take 5 classes, 5 master's classes, which is kind of unheard of that semester.
That's a crazy load.
So I had to do that, and I was like, I'm not going to give up the master's to go train somewhere. So I did the best I could with my weightlifting coach at LIU and got to the pro day. Drills went good. Agility was great. I don't remember the numbers. I'd have to check my RAS card to this day, but I definitely remember my 40. My 40 was a 4.6, which we've dropped that to this day by a lot, quite a bit. But I jumped, I think 35 and a half. I think my broad was like a 10 foot at the time. So I mean, considering the training that I had, I mean, it was a
Decent,
solid day.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
decent numbers for somebody who, like you said, just trained on your own, independent of
Hmm.
the staff outside of the weight coach. That's
Hmm.
solid numbers.
Hmm.
Yeah, let's
So
be honest here. There were guys who were drafted who did not have those numbers.
you
I
feel me? You feel me? That's a whole nother, but
that hey
either here nor there.
hey
But
man, listen.
and then you mentioned like taking into account other opportunities because I had talked to NFL scouts because I had that pro day. I didn't take into account other leagues. And I see too
Mm,
many guys coming out now, especially younger teammates that I've had, where they're like, "Nah, I'm not. I'm going straight to the league. I'm going straight." Everybody's
got to
not.
be the NFL. Got to be.
Everybody's not gonna have that expedited route. You might have to work the ladder. And I wish I would have known that then because I would have went straight to the IFL if I could.
Yeah,
Straight to
and
the IFL if I could.
yeah, I think the mindset of having to make it. I won't I won't say the player's name. There was a player who played for an extremely prominent coach in college football a
Hmm.
couple of seasons ago, and I know some people still to this day on the staff. And I put something on Twitter, and then I'd reached out to somebody on staff and said, "Hey, why didn't do go try for the Canadian League?"
Hmm.
And it took them about 8 9 days to get back, and they said, he doesn't really think that. And I said, I think he could make an 8 9 year career and kill it in Canada. I
Hmm.
looked up, and about a month and a half ago, the player signed with a team in the Canadian Football League, and I just reached out to the personal staff and was like, "Who?" They said somebody nudged him and told him like, "This is a great start." And I'm like, "You got to keep your opportunity open." I'm like, "You might sit and wait for the NFL. NFL ain't picking up sub 6 foot defensive tackles.
Mm-mm.
This
Yeah,
it's not
no,
everybody not Aaron Donald. It's not happening."
no.
So I'm like,
Unless you're a freak, no.
yeah, yeah. Unless you're an absolute freak, like you said, it's that. So now you didn't know you had those opportunities. You were locked in on the NFL. So now the draft comes.
Hmm.
The quote unquote that dream is deferred for a moment.
Hmm.
How do you arrive at the IFL?
So I was very discouraged because Miami called me like a week before draft day. Miami called me. They took down my personal information. They're like, "Hey, like we'll keep you posted as far as draft day goes. We just need your information on file just in case." And so
Right.
I'm like, okay, like shoot, at the very worst, like maybe a camp invite to Miami, but no call, no nothing. I ended up
Mm.
graduating and I was a little discouraged, I'm not gonna lie. So at that point, I had my master's, went home, started working in insurance, and I started coaching. I started coaching high school kids,
Nice.
and you know how it is, like when you're
That's the
coaching,
you.
like
You like, oh man, I gotta. I still what's the beam? I still got one in me.
that love. Like I thought I like you almost feel betrayed by football, right?
Yeah.
But then you go and you coach high school, you see the kids buy into what you're talking about, you see the stuff you're talking about work, and then you see the bad apples, right? That take the game for granted. It's like, damn, if I played again, I would never take the game for granted like
Yeah,
that.
I would. I'd be to practice on time. I'd lift. I would go to class.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and as much as you might try to direct them, they don't listen. But you know in yourself, like, man, if I were you, if you only knew,
Mm-hmm. Like if I could do it all over, like, and I was just
man,
like, okay, I know I'm
you
not done.
So you was like a 23-year-old unk already, just
Literally being called they're talking about you played in the '90s, and I'm like, I wasn't even
you
born
like I
yet, bro.
was
But that's in
born
here.
in the 90s. What are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about?
Like, don't do me like that. They're like, oh, you were
Man,
born on before 9/11. That's how you know you're old. Da da da. I'm like, all right, here we go. Here we go with this. Like, all
man.
right, just
So
craziness.
were you coaching in New York or were you back home coaching?
I was back home, so I actually went back to my high school. They were like
Was
struggling
at
at the
Notre you were
time.
at Notre Dame, right?
Yep, yep,
Yeah, so yep, you was at yeah, so
yep,
you didn't see all them Casper League, Trinity League, Marine League, you know.
yep. But they
You
didn't have any coaches. So literally, like, I walked on campus and they were like, "Hey, like, we need like a DC," and I was like,
Phew.
"Okay." So like, that grind was fun and just studying, and like, I'm the guy that I'm gonna do all the extra work. Like, I'm not gonna leave any stones unturned. You know what I mean? So like, just being a DC and wanting success so bad for those kids, I was like,
Right.
not only do you see a different part of the game as a coach, but like, I'm like, I need to like, okay, some of this stuff I could apply to my game. I know I'm not done. So it was like,
Mm.
I reached out to my agent, Gabe Martinez, shout out Nino Pro Football. And I
Shout out
was like,
Nino.
I want to play. And then he found Fisher's Freight like right away. They called me on the phone and got signed, and it's been history ever since.
Because that was the inaugural season, which is where I got this hat. Went to the first home game. Went to a couple other home games. The long story short, man, my parents had retired to Indiana. My dad is from there. The world is extremely small. I told people I'm gonna find a way to. I'm gonna reach out somewhere. There's an old picture of me and these two dudes when we're at a family reunion when I'm really young, and it took years later for my dad to be like, yeah, that's Jeff Teague. And I'm like, yeah, I really need you to make that
What?
call for me because I need to. Not only do I need to interview, but I need to ask Cuz for some money. But
Let me get a loan.
so, man, let me get alone, Cuz. But no, man. So we a lot of time in Indiana. So when they were like, "Hey, Fisher's Freight," and I was like, oh, "We've done hockey games with the Fury and Pacers games and all that," but I was like, Fisher's Freight. I was like, oh, it's indoor. My dad had never been. So
Mhm.
taking him, man, getting the beatbox and take a picture of the National Guard, he's vet. It was awesome. And that in that environment, I was like, this is something dope, man. I'm like, because I like football anyway, but I said indoor game. I was like, this is awesome. And for it to be in outside the Nap and in Fishers and that little
Mhm.
kind of nestled community and it's packed out and you get all the union workers and the Zamboni, I'm like, this is an environment. So last year
Mhm.
when y'all had the initial season, I had the opportunity to talk with my folk, Aaron Jackson. And I remember in the interview, interviewed Aaron like before like the second or third game of the season. For anybody who I'll link this to it, and he was telling me he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm kind of a vet here. I've ran the gamut, I've won a championship and done this, and he's a pro's pro, but he's also I told him I said, man, when you leave, you're gonna be like a hell of a coach because not only
Mhm.
do you understand the game, but you have a passion to teach. And right when I said that, he said, yeah, man, I got this rookie who, man, I'll be telling him, I'll be like, man, he'd be like, man, I told the rook, he was man if he gonna make it to the league, he's like, man, he does this, he's instinctual. And he spoke, and I was like, man, he said, yeah, this Rook. And then when I saw him, I was like, Jaiden was the Rook. I was like, oh, I said this was the Rook. But yeah, man, he
That's my
spoke
dog.
highly of you. He was like, man, he said, no, you gotta understand. He like, man, the kid's a go-getter. He's a go-getter. I said, oh yeah, man, dope, dope.
That's my
So yeah,
dog,
man,
man. Shout out
man,
AJ.
tell me about Aaron.
That's my dog. He showed me a lot about this indoor game. It's very different. I think a lot of rookies come in and they kind of like your goal is to try and like make it like the outdoor game, right? Because you're panicking, you're learning on the fly, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna make
Yep.
it like outdoor. It's nothing like outdoor. You know what I
Nope.
mean? It's a whole different language. And the moment you realize that as a player is the moment it starts to click for you. You know what I mean? And so he helped me definitely ease through that process. And it was like having a brother like day one. Like he hit me up before I came here. Like he reached out before we got here. Like just solid, like family since day one. Like we have a saying that's like day one, not a day ago. Cause like we
That's
clicked from
dope.
day one. So that's definitely my dog, man. Shout out
That's
to the
awesome,
Sugar
man.
Skulls. Hopefully you doing good.
Yeah, man. Shout out my boy Juice. My man, A
Facts.
Ron.
Facts.
Yeah, man. So the first season goes, man. Y'all have a successful season. I told people, like, I was like, they gonna win some games this year. They gonna upset some people. You got some upsets, some wins. Season, of course, didn't. I'm still trying to catch up with Coach Wooten. Didn't end up, exactly where y'all wanted. But now you're in season two already. The home games are always gonna be popping, man. How are you feeling in your sophomore year or your second year as a professional football player?
I definitely I empathize with the new guys now, right? Because I know exactly the mindset they're in and like what
You're
they're
the
going
you're the
through.
you're the unk again. You're the unk again.
Facts, facts. It definitely feels like that for sure. But it feels like we got something cooking here. I'm not gonna lie. Like we clicked last year as far as chemistry goes, but like we had to build that. You know what I'm saying? Like it was brand
Yeah,
new. Where this year we
literally.
kind of got a nucleus. We got something to build on. So it's like we click from day one. Like we hang out, we bother each other all day, like, and we have a lot of talent. A
Oh yeah,
lot of talent. Like I definitely think we're gonna shock some people this year, and I think we got something cooking for sure. Like I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm doing everything I can to make sure I just hold up my end because I know what I could do. You know what I'm saying? So.
right. Yeah, I mean, man, y'all have I watched, the couple of people, of course I was when Aaron went to Tucson, I was like, I understand, man, it's business. And also I was like, well, I was like I saw it as, the passing the torch. I was like, hey, kind of the Rook who he coached up. It's like, hey man, he's the younger brother taking, the OG slot who he coached up. I was like, man, that's cool. I saw some of the re-signs. I saw y'all brought in my man, the swag genius. Y'all brought in Felix. So
Hmm.
y'all brought in young heart, man. So yeah, I'll say the same thing I said last year, and it's not just because I support it because it's technically my hometown team through my father. But yeah, man, I expect y'all to win games, man. Like Coach Wooten is for it to be the indoor game. I think his coaching style and his like player coach mindset,
Hmm.
I think dude would be. I was like, he could do it if he was in indoor, outdoor, Canada. I'm like, if you sent that brother to coach playing football in Brazil, I think he would sort it out. He would
Hmm.
figure it out. So yeah, man. Now we're entering what? This is bye week for y'all. We're going into week 3
Hmm.
or week 2. Next,
Week
are
3.
y'all
Hmm.
on the next game is on the road, right?
No, we're home this week against
Okay.
Arizona. Big
Back in the
test.
because it's Rattlers.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Big test.
an indoor and arena league legacy. So
Hmm.
yeah, man. So what I ain't gonna ask you what the game plan is, man. I'll start closing out with this because I don't want to it like you said. For anybody who hasn't watched indoor football, I'm super glad there's like the deal with Yahoo Sports that there's like a real investment of actual like professional analysts and people doing it because I enjoy brothers like me and like shout out to cats over off the wall who break
Hmm.
it down, but it's also great to have a true investment into a really exciting sport and not just the fact of that, but I mean like you said I said your dreams deferred. You've watched, that's what I'll ask. You've watched specifically in that game because I think the indoor game requires you to respond quick. Like you said, people adjust. I've seen the
Hmm.
DBs go, well, I was an all whatever person, all conference, D1, D2, whatever. And it's like, I don't think you're ready for this motion and this compact spacing. Like, I don't think you're
Hmm.
ready for these crossing routes on top of a crossing route, on top of a crossing route where somebody then splits to a 9 route. Like, you might in these tight spaces. Like, I think that's the reason why we've seen like an increase in dudes going from not just the indoor to not just the indoor to other indoor leagues but literally the indoor to Canada pipeline has been strong.
Hmm.
The indoor to the UFL pipeline has been strong. Those leagues subsequently get you back to the NFL where most people go. So man, what are your thoughts on that, on seeing the visibility and the eyes on the game, and also the upward mobility that brothers have utilized to get to the quote unquote dream?
I think it's huge, especially for guys like me that may have not been ready physically coming out of college. Like I got time to get developed. You know what I mean? I think we're in the perfect place at the right time because I think this IFL thing, I think it's gonna blow up the way it's looking.
Yeah.
Like it's very
Oh
exciting.
yeah.
It's a very entertaining game. It's very fast, and that's where attention spans are going now. You know what I mean? Is these short attention spans. So like when our game is quick like that, I think
It's
people love
moving.
it and people are gonna gravitate towards it more. I think that pipeline definitely will grow for sure. for sure. Because even playing in like training outdoor in the off season, like it's so much slower. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
know if I get outside again, it's gonna be over with. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's
oh,
just
oh, 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 yeah. My the first thing my dad said, where we sat right behind the bench, and that first the kickoff, he was like, okay, this is regular kickoff. You know, he's 70 plus years old Vietnam vet, so he's that first play ran. He said, wait a minute, what? Whoa, whoa. I said this is a very fast paced game, but he liked it. He said we got to hit some more of these. But I think, like you said, man, the excitement of the fast pace game offensively and defensively, because for those who don't be confused, they hitting they
crash.
yeah man, listen, it's they smacking out there. But yeah, man, like that, I think, yeah, the upward mobility, man, the visibility, and like you said, this is, I think, with that partnership with Yahoo, this is definitely going to bring more eyes, and not just to the game, but I really think it's going to be a great chance, I was saying before, to give a lot of people the visibility and the opportunity to go, hey man, who's that dude on this team, to where, you know, your agent gets a call. So yeah, man,
Mm-hmm.
that's awesome. So now from a standpoint of this season, what are your goals this season outside of winning it all?
Definitely, as hard as I worked in the off season, and like it's beyond my control, right? I like to focus on things I control, which is what I'm doing every day, right? My process. That's the main thing. Is focusing and refining my process. But defensive player of the year, of course, you know what I'm saying? Being the
Mm,
best teammate I could be, going up to a higher level playing, you know what I'm saying? Those are probably the big three. You know what I mean? Helping my younger teammates along, that's a big one for me. Because if I help my teammates along, like Coach Dixie says, their success dictates mine, you know what I mean? So I want to definitely win out, like you said, and then defensive player of the year would be nice. Get
oh
out,
man,
go ahead and get out, get that big contract,
man,
you know what I
man,
mean?
man,
So
man, you know, it's calling, man. It's calling, it's
mhm.
calling. Well, shoot, man. I expect, like I said, man, I always have high hopes for y'all, man. Not just because I cheer for, you know, players or the team or the city, but I genuinely believe y'all have the right coaching. Y'all have a great combination of people. I think last year y'all set an amazing foundation for what
Mhm.
that team, and specifically, like I said last year, that city is really like Indiana and Indianapolis. People driving up from Fort Wayne, Muncie, Anderson. There's a real, they packing that house, man. They want to see y'all win. So
Mhm.
I think, man, that extra man on the field in the crowd is awesome, man. So look, man, I'm gonna close it out, man. Again, I greatly appreciate your time, man. Always glad to catch up with any brother from the best coast. You
Yes,
know, out
sir.
here, you know, from the inland empire. But look, man, where can everybody find you, follow you, and is there anything else you want to support, and also anything you want to plug, and where, and also y'all go to these games, get them while you can get tickets,
Facts. They gonna
because
start selling out.
you
Facts.
you gonna be in the back row of that Fisher's Arena, and that arena is much bigger than you think it is, because you're gonna
Facts.
go in and you're gonna be like, there's a suite in here. Wait a minute, yes, there's a suite, and you're not there. You're sitting way over there in the low key nosebleeds on the indoor game. You wondering how it happened. Get your
Facts.
tickets now.
Facts.
get
Facts.
get your tickets now. But no, man, where can people find you? Where can they follow you, Phil?
So follow me at IG at Jaiden Roe 7. And I just want to say thank you, bro. Thank you for having me. You
Oh
know what I'm
man,
saying?
most definitely.
You from the best coast. I can
Man, you
recognize
know,
that
man,
LA
look,
accent now
you
for
know, man,
sure.
we all gonna jump in the court. You know,
You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you, man.
yeah, man. Well, look, man. Again, man. Thank y'all, man. Thank all y'all for watching, man. Brother Jay, man. Appreciate you. We'll catch up, man. And God bless season, man. Championships,
Yes, sir.
championships, and then we upward to the bag. And when you get the bag, I'm gonna ask you for some change, Unc. I'm gonna ask just like I'm gonna catch up with my cousin. Well, catch up with your nephew.
Got you. Let's do it. I got you with the loan. I got you.
All right, Jay, man. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you for your time. Have a good night, man.
Appreciate you, my guy. You too.
All right.
All right.
Hey, man, my man Jaiden Roe, Fisher's Freight, Indoor Football League. Again, man, greatly appreciate y'all for tapping in on another episode of Legacy and Leaders Media. Make sure to check out our next episode with whoever we could get while this out of season. But no, man, thank y'all for watching. Pete, shout out to Freight. Merch me. God bless y'all. Be easy. Peace.